So please be seated. Good afternoon. I am Bruce Keppen, and I have the privilege of serving as the Dean of the Frank H. Netter, MD School of Medicine at Quinnipiac University. I would like to welcome our students and their family and friends to the White Coat Ceremony for the members of the class of 2023. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge our special guests. In the audience, we have members from the university's Board of Trustees, representatives from our affiliated hospitals and research partners, generous benefactors, and other friends of the school and university. I want to take this moment to thank these individuals for their meaningful support, which strengthens the foundation of our future and ensures top-quality academic experience for our students. With the medical sciences and clinical sciences faculty of the School of Medicine both on the stage and in the audience, please stand and to be recognized. Would the administrative staff also rise? Thank you. Dr. Kim Pham, our Dean of Students, and Elisa Carroll, our Director of Student Affairs, merit special thanks for organizing all of the week's orientation activities and especially this ceremony. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Quinnipiac University's President, Dr. Judy Olien.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I am so delighted to welcome each of you to Quinnipiac University. We are, to the students, your new home base, your new family for the next 4 years, and I hope for the rest of your life. I'm particularly excited to have our very own Lindsay C Erica, who is Netter's School of Medicine graduating class of 2017, as our first alumna keynote speaker, and that was the first graduating class. For a young medical school, this is a special moment to be welcoming back Dr. C Erica. So, to each of you, you deserve big kudos for at least 2 reasons. First, you're here. You got in. You're clearly talented and driven by purpose. We look for individuals who embody the ideals of informed, curious medical professionals, people who can process complex information under uncertainty, discover patterns in messy data, and find impactful, healing answers. We believe each of you have those talents. You're impressive, and we are impressed. And second, you're pursuing a life of purpose, to devote your lives to others. You've chosen to give hope to others, to heal, to nurture, to minister to others, to be empathetic, pastoral, compassionate, caring in the face of suffering. Yours is a terrifically noble cause, one that can be very tough and painful, not to mention arduous. And yet, of all the choices you could have made with your talents, you're drawn to these causes and passions. That's humbling and fundamental to civil society, where we must be able to turn to caring, compassionate individuals who minister to others. You are them. I can't say why you were drawn to Quinnipiac. I can say why I was drawn, since, as you may know, I'm just beginning my 2nd year here. I was drawn to QU because this is an institution that is different. It strives to be tangible and impactful in a practical way, to make a difference in areas of need. One of our 4 pillars of our strategic plan is to build a mindset that prepares for 21st century careers. Here at QU, we're adept at identifying and responding rapidly to market and societal needs. Our curriculum ensures educational experiences that are rich with experiential and applied learning, service learning, volunteer engagement, and interdisciplinary approaches. Very few institutions are as connected to the marketplace, to fields of practice, and to other disciplines as we are here at Quinnipiac. You'll be working here with many other members of the health professions and specialties. You'll also be better prepared to function in teams, to understand the sociology of needs of underserved groups, to understand where medicine meets the law or intersects with biology and engineering and technology. You're also in the front line of societal needs and changes. The worsening profile of mental health in this country and the tragic consequences of this trajectory, which are especially evident among younger generation, requires particular skills, expertise, and compassion that medical professionals in the past didn't have to draw on to this extent or necessarily be adept in. A similar radical trajectory of change is evident in another area, in data analytics and the promise offered through sophisticated understanding of the disruptive advances available in medicine and in many other fields, as long as you have an understanding of how to structure and exploit the power of digital data sets. You, the doctors of the future, will need to be those discerning consumers of data analytics in diagnosing and treating patients, using the most sophisticated understanding of current analytic insights into disease. Let's face it, IBM's Watson will know more about the specific treatment suited to a highly particular cancer molecule than could most oncologists. And here's another societal, in fact, planetary shift that will test new frontiers in medicine, and that's the impact of climate change. Medical professionals, along with many other disciplines, will be required to understand and minister to the consequences of climate change, such as treatments for severe allergies, respiratory illnesses, and cardiovascular conditions due to increased air pollution and wildfires, or Lyme disease and food insecurity, all of which are exacerbated because of effects of climate change. Those other aspects of your learning, the interdisciplinary, the behavioral and psychological, the legal, sociological, data analytic, and environmental aspects of your learning will position you to be the physician who ministers fully to the patient, who knows when and how to draw on other professionals in health, scientific, social scientific, and technological fields, who recognizes that the complex decision-making of medicine rests on exploitation of a team's know-how, that sometimes you need to bring in insights from fields that aren't obviously part of medicine, and that healing involves as much compassion and empathy as it does the science of medicine. We do that here at Quinnipiac, Netter School of Medicine, because of the multidisciplinary orientation of your faculty, and it is the way the health sciences here at QU are structured. We're also fortunate to be partnered with excellent institutions who provide that broad training. Every student who graduated in the first 3 classes from Quinnipiac Netter has had a successful match, including some at our clinical affiliates, like St. Vincent's Medical Center, Middlesex Health, and St. Francis. Other graduates have gone on to institutions like Yale, Johns Hopkins, Stanford, and Brown. And with your talents, with the dedicated and expert faculty here, and with the unique practical and multidisciplinary approaches taken at Quinnipiac Netter, I am confident that you will have similar success. You're entering a vocation that is not just a noble cause, it is hugely in demand, due in large part to our aging population and societal changes. Healthcare needs are on the rise, and the United States could see a shortage of up to 120,000 physicians by 2030. We're a young school with one single purpose in mind, from Dean Bruce Copen to the very last member of the medical school faculty and staff, to offer the most current, well-rounded medical education to you, and to provide a pipeline to societies around the world of expert, skilled compassionate physicians. That fits with the overarching purpose of our university, to graduate individuals who will become enlightened citizens prepared for the careers of the 21st century. You're in the right place. Being young as a school means that we haven't yet ossified. We're excited, we're passionate, we're innovative around our unique model of medical education, and nimble in changing whatever needs to be changed. We're singularly focused on one thing: you. Our faculty and staff are obsessed with our educational mission. They are here to help you thrive as future physicians and as individuals who will lead lives of significance. Now, don't forget that you're part of a big, major university. Going to lectures, say, on emotional well-being that comes from art appreciation, on the characteristics of effective teams, on policies and practices to limit the prevalence of guns, on the impact of climate change, on the economics of healthcare policy, on bringing an entrepreneurial idea to market, or on bridging the economic divide in educational and healthcare attainment. All of these types of additional experiences will give you a more nuanced appreciation of the world in which we all live and work. And going to a theater performance or to hockey, basketball, soccer, or tennis matches will balance your stress. Plus, you'll become part of this broader, wonderful Bobcat family. That's a family that will stay with you for life. And speaking of forever, there is something here that one can rarely say, that our relationship will last forever. Now, when you get married, you think it's forever, and sometimes it isn't. When you make dear friendships, you think it's forever, and sometimes it isn't. But this really is forever. We will be forever on your masthead. We will always be part of who you are and identify with. We take that responsibility very seriously. We ask that you share in that responsibility. Together, we are invested in this joint relationship as one that builds, lifts individuals and communities. And you will make us proud whenever we hear the words Quinnipiac Netter School of Medicine associated with you. We have a level of caring and compassion here at QU that's very touching, welcoming, and serves communities broadly, both inside the university and around us. That's who we are, but it's also capturing two of our 4 strategic pillars: to enhance inclusive excellence and to nurture and positively impact internal, local, and global communities. During your time at Quinnipiac, you'll have the opportunity to give back to local communities that are characterized by a wide range of diverse needs through health initiatives, clinics, and community-based projects. I hope you engage also in that part of your well-rounded education. Your educational journey at QU, the one you're starting today, I know will be transformative because of what you'll learn about medicine, about related fields, about the world, and perhaps most importantly, about yourself, who you are, who you want to be, how you want to have impact. You could not be in a better place to launch that journey. We welcome you with our whole hearts to the Bobcat family, and we are here to see you thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, President Olien. Congratulations, members of the class of 2023. I know that all of you worked long and hard to be sitting where you are today. You are an elite group, having been selected from a pool of more than 7,700 applicants. As Dean of the School of Medicine, let me be the first to welcome each and every one of you into the profession of medicine, and more importantly, into our family. I have no doubt that each and every one of you aspires to be a great physician. But what exactly does that mean? And how do you achieve greatness? If we were to poll everyone here this afternoon, I suspect we would get a long list of characteristics and traits that a physician would have to possess in order to be considered great. I am also quite certain that many would say a great physician must be highly knowledgeable and have impeccable clinical skills. However, I would submit that if you were the most knowledgeable and skilled physician in your chosen field, you would certainly be considered a good physician, but may not be a great physician. What does it take to become a great physician? I believe, and I'm not alone in this belief, that what distinguishes good from great is humanism. Humanism, as it applies to the practice of medicine, is defined as the application of medical knowledge and clinical skills that take into account the emotional, social, and cultural needs of the patient and his or her family. So clearly, you must be knowledgeable, and you must have exceptional clinical skills, both of which you will learn during medical school and as you continue your training through residency and beyond. But can you learn to be humanistic? Or are some individuals born that way while others are not? I believe humanism is a behavior that can be learned if you commit yourself to that task. You will not learn humanism from a textbook. Rather, you will learn it by observing and working with mentors and role models who embrace humanism in their work and clinical practice. In a recent study of surgeons published in the journal Academic Medicine, 3 attitudes and 5 habits were associated with surgeons who were viewed by their trainees, in other words, surgical residents, as being highly humanistic. The 3 attitudes were humility, responsibility, and a strong desire to live up to the highest standards of professional behavior. The 5 habits that were important for sustaining these attitudes were self-reflection, finding deep connections with patients, maintaining personal and professional relationships, having fun at work, and paying it forward to the next generation of physicians. Therefore, starting today, when you receive your white coat and stethoscope, I urge all of you to set your sights on becoming a great physician. While the faculty and staff here in the medical school will help you on that quest, ultimately the task is yours. Therefore, I encourage you to find those mentors and role models who make humility, responsibility, and adherence to the highest professional standards part of everything they do, and try your best to be just like them. If you do that each and every day, I am quite certain that you will indeed become a great physician. I wish you all the best on your journey to greatness. Again, congratulations on being a member of the class of 2023. Thank you. I would now ask Dr. Luba Quinnipiac, the school's Senior Associate Dean for Education, to come forward to share with you the significance of the white coat ceremony.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I join Dean Kempen and President Olien in welcoming the class of 2023, your parents, family members, and friends, and all who helped this talented and dedicated group of students reach this momentous occasion. Today, the white coat is a symbol of becoming a student of medicine, on your way to becoming a physician. It is an emblem of everything you have accomplished to get here, the tremendous hard work and the sacrifices you and your family have made. It is also a symbol of aspiration, of your dreams and our hopes for you as you grow professionally here at Quinnipiac's Netter School of Medicine. The white coat is truly a powerful symbol. It defines us, it unites us, It gives us authority. It comes with the promise of duty and expertise, and confirms the awesome responsibilities of our profession. Responsibilities grounded in the fundamental and noble principles of the primacy of patient welfare, patient autonomy, and social justice. The power of the coat is felt both by us and by those who see us wearing it. When you wear it, many who see you will assume that you are already a doctor. And while right now your diagnostic and therapeutic acumen is in its infancy, we know that you have arrived here with a tremendous capacity for serving, caring, and learning all the right stuff to become great physicians. Some of you have looked forward to this day with confidence, knowing that you finally get to look the part that you've been preparing for. Others may feel a little uncomfortable in their white coat. You may not feel like a doctor yet, more like an actor. You may even feel like an imposter. This is all normal. The coat is your new professional skin. You will grow into it. Each and every one of you belongs here at the School of Medicine, and in coating you, we affirm our confidence in you, and we welcome you to our profession. The white coat was first worn in the 1800s. Before then, physicians wore black because it was considered formal and appropriate for the serious matter of doctoring, which at that time often ended with the patient's death. By the late 19th century, the idea of preventing infection by creating a sterile environment was emerging. At around the same time, the education of doctors was starting to become more rigorous and centered around scientific discovery. Doctors were encouraged to present themselves as clean and scientific, to lend authority to their role as physicians. The white coat moved from the laboratory to the bedside. With new diagnostic and therapeutic techniques, patients began to see the hospital as a place to be healed rather than a place to die, with doctors and nurses dressed in white to designate them as the healers. Further advances, such as the discovery of antibiotics in the early 20th century, revolutionized medicine and made the role of the physician even more vital. The power and respect of physicians grew, as did the symbolism of the white coat that helped define the role. Today, the use of the white coat varies by institution. Typically, the short white coat is worn by medical students, and long white coats by residents and attending physicians. But nowadays, if you see a healthcare provider in a white coat, it may be a physician's assistant, a nurse practitioner, a physical therapist, or any number of people on the healthcare team. This speaks to the evolution of our current healthcare system towards team-based medical care. And the meaning of the white coat continues to evolve. A national medical student movement began in 2014 called White Coats for Black Lives, seeks to raise awareness of racism as a public health concern and prepare physicians to be advocates for racial justice. Again, this symbol of the white coat remains highly relevant to our society. The white coat, over time, will gain its own significance for each of you through the life-changing experiences you will engage in your new identity as a healer. In turn, the physicians each of you will continue to imbue the white coat with meaning and significance. In 1927, Francis Peabody, a Harvard physician, wrote, "One of the essential qualities of the clinician is interest in humanity, for the secret of the care of the patient is in caring for the patient." As you are coated, please consider the commitment you have just made to caring for patients. When you return to your seats, you will have changed. You will have now crossed over the threshold of the profession of medicine, And whether you are wearing your white coat or not, you will always know that on this day, you took the step to become a student of medicine, a physician, and will answer the calling with compassion, integrity, humility, and courage. Congratulations, Quinnipiac Snetter School of Medicine, class of 2023.
Thank you, Dr. Quinnipiac. I would now ask Dr. Tracy Marquis, an Associate Professor of Medical Sciences and Director of both the Medical Student Home and Longitudinal Integrated Clerkship Programs, to come to the podium to introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, and welcome to the class of 2023. It is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you today your keynote speaker, Dr. Lindsay C Erica, as a member of the Frank H. Netter, MD, School of Medicine Charter Class of 2017. She completed her undergraduate degree at Sacred Heart University in Biology and Honors Studies, where she was a member of the Division I tennis team. She then obtained her master's in public health and health policy and management at New York Medical College, where she focused on the improvement of healthcare delivery through novel reimbursement models. Prior to medical school, she worked for a cardiovascular research startup company, which sparked her passion for clinical trials. Her research career continued throughout medical school with a focus on advanced therapies for the treatment of atrial fibrillation. During her time at the Frank H. Netter, MD, School of Medicine, she presented 10 research posters and authored 2 publications, earning her high distinction in basic, translational, and clinical science research. She was also involved in the Netter Cycling Club and the LCME Committee. Currently, Dr. C Erica is in her 3rd year of her internal medicine residency at Yale New Haven Hospital within the Yale Primary Care Program. Her clinical interests include preventive cardiology with a focus on nutrition and expanding access to subspecialty care for underserved populations. Next year, she will be serving as chief resident and plans to pursue a fellowship in cardiology. She is a Connecticut native and lifelong resident, living currently in New Haven with her fiancé, Camille, and their rescue dog, Lola. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lindsay C Erica.
Thank you, Dr. Marquis, for that introduction to President Olien, Dean Keppen, members of the faculty, honored guests, and students of the Frank H. Netter, MD, School of Medicine. It's an honor to be here today as we celebrate the beginning of another academic year. To the class of 2023, you have arrived. It wasn't too long ago that I was sitting exactly where you are. When I first started, there was only 60 of us. The medical school was very quiet. You could be studying for days and no one would know you were there. But there's so many of you, and it's so amazing to see how big the medical school has grown. So I'm honored to have the opportunity to share some of the things I've learned through my journey here at Quinnipiac and in my clinical training. The white coat ceremony symbolizes the start of your transition from student to physician. The coat you receive today will go with you to the lecture hall, the anatomy lab, to clinics, hospitals, and operating rooms across the country. Your pockets will be full of books, pocket cards, physical exam tools, patient lists, pens, you name it. Today, your coat is pristinely white, but over the years, it will collect markings of where you've been: coffee stains, leaky highlighters, blood, sweat, and tears. But more important than your physical white coat is what it represents. It represents your role as a learner, as a teacher, and as a healer. And this is the white coat that you will never take off. I've walked the road that you're about to embark on, and not only did I survive, but I grew personally and professionally. I'd like to share some of my perspectives with you and take you through the stages of your own journey including your past, your present, and your future in medicine. Your past accomplishments are what have formed you into the person you are today, and your accomplishments have brought you to this moment. Being accepted into medical school is no small feat. I have no doubt that each of you overcame your own obstacles to earn your spot in this class. The pool of applicants was large, and the competition was fierce. Now that you are here, however, I want to challenge you to change your mindset. The competition that has driven your success in the past must now change to collaboration. When you enter that lecture hall on Monday, you enter with your classmates and you enter as a team. Medical school is a long road, and it's not one that you will walk alone. Your colleagues to your left and to your right are on this journey with you. You are sharing in a unique experience together, and no one will understand what you're going through more than those going through it with you. So support your classmates when they need it, and lean on them when you need it. Remember, a rising tide raises all boats. You will be greater together than you could ever be alone. This attitude of collaboration will serve you not just in medical school, but throughout your career in medicine. You will hear a lot about interprofessional communication over the next 4 years, but it's essential in clinical practice. The healthcare team is incredibly dynamic, and it functions best when there's a focus on communication and teamwork. As I said earlier, each of you has earned your spot in this class. However, some of you may not feel that way. Some of you may be questioning just how exactly you got here, and if you're really ready for this. I remember how excited I was for my own white coat ceremony. It was a benchmark on my journey to becoming a physician. But when it finally came time to put on that white coat, I was apprehensive. I felt the weight of responsibility on my shoulders. I had doubts about the long road ahead and fear that I wouldn't measure up. If any of you are feeling that way, I want to remind you of one simple fact. You are here for a reason. You are here because the faculty on this stage believe in you, and they believe in your ability to be a successful physician. You are here because your family and friends are supporting you, and they will continue to do so. You are here because you've done as much as you could up to this point to prepare for this journey. So trust in the process, trust in your faculty and classmates, and trust in yourselves. You are ready for this. Now I'd like to take a moment to look towards the future. The healthcare landscape is constantly changing, and there's been a shift in focus towards disease prevention and patient-focused care. Primary care is essential now more than ever. Even if you're not going into a career in primary care, the clinical skills you will learn here will serve you throughout your career. The most valuable aspect of my training here at Quinnipiac was not the lectures or the clinical rotations, as exceptional as they were. The most valuable aspect of my training was the type of physician that I was trained to be. Throughout these 4 years, there was always a focus on the patient as a whole, not just as a collection of organ systems and pathologies. I was taught not just the science of medicine, but the art of patient-centered communication. This means I learned how to approach a patient holistically and to respect patient autonomy. I learned how to conduct a clinical encounter with empathy and honesty. I learned to pay attention to what affects a patient physically as much as how it affects them emotionally. And over the next 4 years, you will learn this as well. Patient-centered communication is a skill. It's one that you need to hone, and it's very important in clinical practice. For some of you, this may come easy, but others may require practice and training. Patient-centered communication will not only enhance the patient's experience, but it will make your clinical practice more fulfilling. I still use this form of communication in almost every patient encounter, and it's been something that has set me apart from physicians trained at other medical schools. Your patients, as well as your residents and your clinical preceptors, will notice how you speak to patients. It's not just about gathering the necessary clinical information, but it's also about how you respond to the patient emotionally. I remember my MESH preceptor's favorite quote from Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Regardless of the trajectory of your career, embrace these patient-centered skills and integrate them into your practice. Now I'd like to come back to the present. Before you come to the stage and put on your white coat for the first time, I really want you to pause for a moment. I want each of you to focus on one thing. What is your why? Why did you choose medicine? Why will you give your time, your physical, and your emotional energy to this profession? Why is medicine not just your career, but your calling? Everyone has a reason why they went into medicine. There are different reasons for every physician, and no reason is greater than the other. But what is critical is that you know what that reason is for you. Because the days will be long. You will be tired. You will be tested. You will be frustrated at injustices. You will see patients through their darkest hours. It is in these moments where you might question why you didn't choose an easier path. But it is exactly in these moments where you need to remember your why. It is also equally important for you to stay present through your training and fully experience the positive moments. When you pass your first exam, when you remember a concept from lecture and use it to benefit a patient, when you throw your first successful surgical suture, and when you deliver a baby. These are the moments that will fuel your fire and light the way. I'd like to conclude with something personal. In preparation for this address, I was looking through my old notes from medical school. I was clicking through the section on clinical arts and science, and I came across an assignment. It was a letter that I had written to my future self. I honestly had no recollection of writing this letter. I took a lot of notes in medical school. It was one of the many. But I would like to share some of this letter with you. It begins, "Dear future self, in case you don't remember writing this letter, it's August 26, 2013. You just started your second week of medical school, and yes, you are overwhelmed already. I hope you are reading this with an MD after your name. Here is a list of things that I want you to remember when you finally are ready to practice medicine. Respect your patients, their families, and yourself. You are invited into people's lives simply by doing your job. Never take that responsibility lightly. Be honest, even if it's uncomfortable. Be open, even if you think you know best. Be gentle with yourself and those around you. Be human and let yourself feel. Work hard in your professional and personal life. Stay humble and stay focused. Do as much good as you can, but accept that even you have your limits. Above all, never forget that it is an honor and a privilege to practice medicine." So to the class of 2023, I wish you all the best on this journey. Remember today not as the day that you received your first white coat, but as the day you stepped into a role that will define the rest of your life. Reflect on your past, be mindful of your future, and remain fully invested in the present. Those, like myself, who have come before you have paved the way, but it's up to you to keep the legacy alive, and we're all rooting for you. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring remarks. We have a small gift and a token of appreciation for your words. We are now at the point in the ceremony where the members of the class of 2023 receive their white coat and stethoscope. Dr. Kim Pham, Associate Dean for Medical Student Affairs, will lead this portion of the ceremony.
Good afternoon. The white coat was deemed the cloak of compassion by Dr. Linda D. Lewis, who presided over the first formal white coat ceremony at Columbia College of Physicians and Surgeons in 1993. The white coat also serves a very practical purpose, holding the tools of the profession: stethoscope, pen light, tuning fork, reflex hammer. Some things have changed in the 20 or so years since the first white coat ceremony. Where pockets once were weighted down by reference manuals, calculators, pagers, and note cards filled with to-do lists, a single smartphone can now serve most of these functions. Yet, the stethoscope retains its primacy in both symbolism and function. It represents the essential connection between physician and patient. Its use requires the laying on of hands, as well as the act of actually listening to a patient. I will now invite each student to arise and approach the stage. A member of the faculty will help you don your white coat. You'll then receive your stethoscope from Dean Keppen and Assistant Dean Charles Collier. Please note that these stethoscopes have been donated by members of the community who already see promise in you and wish to invest in your success. You'll find a card in your pocket providing contact information for your donors with information on their whereabouts. To begin, will Drs. McHugh, Dreiling, and Copes come forward to help cloak? Okay. Sharif Abdel Jalil, Nicole Adler, Joey Akerson, Austin Alexi, Janani Arangan, Sethi Babu, Gabriella Buffoni, Sarah Buzel, Anish Kalikian, Ashley Carducci, Abigail Case, Julia Cataldo, John B. Chiari, Nicole Clayton, Francis Coppola, James Danahay, Tam Nguyen Minh Dinh, thank you, Sotanya Douglas, thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Drs. Marquis Eidman, Yekel, and Goman to the stage to assist in cloaking the students. Thank you. Rebecca Easley, Christopher Eichsenberger, Aloharere Asomo, Patrick Fleming, Lala Forrest, Mercedes Fall Forster, Garrett Garbo, Catherine Gershfield, Corinne Grady, Audria Greenwald, Derek Grosskreutz, Kenny Hanton, Christina Harvey, Diane Hassania, Megan Haugland, George Hernandez. Laura Hernandez. Audrey La. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Doctors Anand, McLeod, and Francone to the stage to assist in cloaking the students. Thank you. Rachel Huselid. Stanka Jakob. Zaki Iqbal. Emily Jetter. Kevin Lawrence John. Anya Kamaraju. Joseph Kask. Margaret Kazicki. Eric Azanjian. Amanda Kelly. Nadia Kianfar. Paul Kim. Aisha Kitcher. Anish Kolan. Stephen Cracky. Okensama Alanyani. Jacob Laperche. Caroline Lapp. At this time, I'd like Michael Larson. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Doctors Konopasek, Hill, and Hall to the stage to assist in cloaking the students. Thank you. Adriana Lebowitz. Bomsal Lee. Megan Lubner. Christina Nelson. Julia Moulton. Jana Moses. Benjamin Morris Eppolito. At this time, thank you. Yes, thank you. Oh, only 3? Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to, oh, I'm sorry. I have a duplicate of this card here. Never mind. Will you please come back up to the stage? So sorry. Christina Merkliana. Joseph Maltzbender. Maria Mastropolo. Elizabeth McCarthy. Eric Malara. Whitney Nichols. Kevin O'Connor. Lady Ortiz. Arya Parhar. Veronica Pashak. Andrew Petru. Anna Potaraj. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Davis, Conti, and Stahl to the stage. Anna Prol. Srina Ramakrishnan. Sophie Reno. Valeria Saldana. Faris Sasa. Abby Skirfield. Leanne Serrano. Emily Sirway. Alexandra Smith. Amar Sirah. Mahima Sukumar. Matthew Swanson. Sabia Tamima. Salam Taraben. Yelana Tauta. Alona Tokarev. Ryan Tudino. Cecilia Wang. Shane Varghese. And Darren Wajaya. Thank you, and congratulations.
The class of 2023 will now be led in the Hippocratic Oath by Dr. Jennifer Drayling, an assistant professor in the Department of Medical Sciences.
Okay, if I can ask the class of 2023 to please stand. And at this time, I'd like to also invite any members of the audience who are physicians who wish to renew the oath along with us. Please stand. Okay, here we go. I swear to fulfill, to the best of my ability and judgment, this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. I will apply for the benefit of the sick all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say, I know not, nor will I fail to call in my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for a patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that the world may know. Most especially must I tread with care in matters of life and death. It is given to me to save a life, all thanks, but it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibility includes these related problems if I am to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body as well as the infirm. If I do not violate this oath, may I enjoy life and art, respected while I live and remembered with affection thereafter. May I always act so as to preserve the finest traditions of my calling, and may I long experience the joy of healing those who seek my help. Thank you. Please be seated.
I would ask Dr. Mark Yeckel, Associate Dean for Admissions and Chair of the Admissions Committee, to come forward. Dr. Yeckel has led the effort to recruit and admit the members of the class of 2023, and it is most appropriate that he have the honor of presenting them to all of you.
Yeah, this is a real honor to introduce the indomitable class of 2023. As I told them on Monday, I feel like we've been through a lot. Many of them submitted applications over a year ago. Some of them have been on this path for a long time. If it's consistent with our other students, about 50% of them knew they wanted to go into medicine, but another 15 to 20% didn't know until they graduated. But it's a long path. I love the white coat. I think it becomes a little bit more real for everybody and for the families, and I think it's just a really nice way to celebrate it. We have 95 students. You were chosen from 7,701 applications. Yeah, that's tough. And we have a great admissions team and faculty who participate and go through this process. It's grueling, but it's very satisfying. We have 32 men and 63 women. Apparently, we're very good at recruiting women. I think it's a good thing for our school and for medicine. Our students come from 19 states, mostly from the Northeast. About 50% of them come from the Northeast in California. The class graduated from 50 undergrad institutions. Another 22% went on and got postgraduate degrees. We have a slightly more experienced and mature class than most medical school classes. The average age when our students submitted their application was 25 years old, and typically it's 23 years old. 20% of our class, of the class of 23, was born outside our country. They immigrated from Bangladesh, South Korea, India, Iran, the Ukraine, Colombia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Kyrgyzstan, Australia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Nigeria, Lebanon, Cuba, Romania, Pakistan, and Poland. I'm not done. Another 25% were born to parents that immigrated to our country from Armenia and India, South Korea, El Salvador, Nigeria, Pakistan, Iran, Germany, Ghana, Italy, Portugal, Poland, Cyprus, Nicaragua, Syria, the Philippines, Palestine, Japan, Uruguay, Russia, and Cuba. And the international roots, it goes beyond that. A third of our students have spent considerable time doing service work or mission work or being educated or competing in sports in countries all around the world. We have a handful of students who have served in the military and several who are committed to serving in the military after they graduate. The class, The class of 2023 they've had many, many jobs. They're the people that you buy your donuts from, your fast food, and you don't realize that they have the drive and desire that it takes to get here. They've been lifeguards, waiters, waitresses, bartenders, restaurant hostesses, ice cream scoopers, bakers, and baristas. Several have worked in fast food joints like Dunkin' Donuts and Burger King. Some have delivered food. Some have been caterers and cashiers. They have worked in clothing stores and been makeup artists. One student was a successful house painter, another carpenter. One of the students was a maintenance manager of a big housing co-op. One student was a pharmacist until last week. And, and we have at least one student who drove Uber and Lyft. Several have been camp counselor, they've been nannies and tutors. One student was the onset tutor for child actors. A handful have been school teachers, yoga instructors, and Zumba leaders. One student worked with a healthcare app startup. Others have worked at biotech companies and pharmaceutical companies. Many have worked at universities and medical centers as research scientists and clinical coordinators. Last summer, one student spent 16-hour days processing fish in Alaska, and I believe he still has all his fingers. That is not easy work. They all have healthcare experience, mostly as emergency medical technicians or scribes to physicians. Several have been medical assistants or have been medical office managers. One was a nurse in the military. Some have been certified nurse assistants. Others have provided compassionate hospice care. A couple of students have worked in mobile health clinics. 2 of our students were substance abuse counselors, and a handful have been HIV/AIDS counselors. They are remarkably service-oriented. They've worked for AmeriCorps, America Reads, and New Haven Reads. They've worked with the homeless and in homeless shelters. Several have participated with Habitat for Humanity. Others have mentored and tutored children and immigrants. Some have volunteered for the Special Olympics and the Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization. A couple have worked at the Migrant Farm Worker Clinic in Connecticut. 2 of our students have been sexual assault victims advocates. Though this class is academically strong, they're in the top 80th percentile of matriculating medical students, which is very good. They're also well-rounded. They participate in sports and the arts and more. In some cases, they've competed in sports and the arts at a national and at the international level. We have intercollegiate athletes who participated at a very high level in crew, track and field, cross country, tennis, soccer, baseball, lacrosse, and basketball. Several of them were the captain of their team. A couple of students were on the cheer squad at their university. Others have participated at a high level in formal club athletics, sailing, triathlon team, rowing, figure skating, table tennis, soccer, baseball, judo, ultimate frisbee, and the highly competitive dodgeball and kickball. Many are highly accomplished in other competitive and recreational sports. We have several who have earned black belts and multiple black belts in disciplines such as karate, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and more. One of our students was a 2-time national champion in Taekwondo. Another was on the Team USA synchronized figure skating team. We have several distance-oriented athletes, marathon runners, triathletes, and people who like to race up the Rocky Mountains. We have powerlifters, rock climbers, kayakers, and equestrians. We have people who have competed internationally in Taekwondo, figure skating, and basketball. They also like the arts and hobbies. We have writers, poets, painters, and potters. Some are musicians and singers. A couple of our students have been touring musicians. Our students play every possible instrument in renowned venues such as Carnegie Hall. Several were singers in their university choirs, in gospel choirs, and in a cappella group. We have a couple of classical Indian dancers and ballroom dancers. We have murder mystery fans and roller coaster enthusiasts. They're very well-rounded. I could go on. I could just keep going on. I wish I could tell you each of their stories. They all have stories. And I love sharing them. I love bragging about them. I think it's also important to recognize some of their other qualities. They're reflective, they're sensitive, they're passionate about what they do, they're engaged, they're kind and caring. They're remarkably resilient, and they have a strong sense for social justice. I know that we're thrilled to have them here, and I hope that you really believe it when I say we want to get to know you. I can only imagine how proud you are. The class of 2023 stand. Let's take a moment to honor and congratulate and welcome the class of 2023.
This concludes our ceremony. I would ask the audience to remain seated until the class of 2023 has exited, and then please join us for the reception right behind the stage. I would also ask that you allow the photographer to take the class photo before getting together and taking pictures of your special member of the class of 2023. Thank you all for being with us this afternoon.